Okay, folks, I think we're ready to get going. My name is John Lohman. I am the publisher of the Corridor Business Journal. I want to welcome you to our latest free webinar as part of our Corridor Rising 2.0 series. As many of you know, we at the Corridor Business Journal host a lot of events throughout the year. And with the coronavirus, it has obviously impacted our business model. So we have done our best to evolve and adapt. And so we started doing some webinars over the last several weeks, and we've had some great experts on lots of different topics. And really the purpose of these webinars is to help our readers and our friends understand some of the critical issues that are happening nowadays, particularly with regards to how business owners and managers can kind of navigate this coronavirus. And so we're fortunate to have all of you with us today. I think we are streaming live on Facebook. And if you have questions and you're in our Zoom, you can put your questions down in the Zoom chat, and I'll do my best to get those questions to our speakers today. And we're really fortunate. We've got three experts in this area that are going to talk about what they're seeing, how we can keep our businesses and our families safe during these challenging times. The first person we've got is Sonia Selmeyer. She's a consumer advocate with the Iowa Insurance Division. And we've got Al Perales, who is the consumer protection investigator for the Iowa Attorney General's office. And last but certainly not least, we got Bobby Hansen, who's the regional director for the Better Business Bureau. And these three individuals deal with scams, frauds, challenges, all the time, and they're really the experts, not only in Eastern Iowa, but throughout the state of Iowa. And so we're very fortunate to have them with us today. As much as I'd like to talk to Bobby Hansen about the Last Dance documentary on ESPN, we are going to kind of limit this discussion to scams and frauds. And so, but anyway, thank you three folks for being with us today. I think we're going to start with a question for Sonia. And if you could just give us a handle on what you're seeing in regards to scams related to COVID-19. And then I think we'll probably go around the horn with Al and Bobby, seeing what they're seeing and hearing as well. So Sonia.
Thank you, John. Thanks for having me today. I appreciate it. Thankfully, the Iowa Insurance Division hasn't seen any scams related to COVID-19 yet. I anticipate it's only a matter of time before Iowans are solicited for investments in companies related to the COVID-19 outbreak, companies that might be producing masks, gowns, vaccinations, testing, things like that. And those companies might not be legit. So consumers need to be aware of that.
Al, why don't we go to you next? What are you seeing or hearing, or is it still too early?
Well, no, they're, believe it or not, if you're a small business, you're a target. Scammers that are out there target small businesses, mainly because a lot of times they don't report it. They don't say anything. And they become a main target for scammers out there. Some of the scams that I'm seeing right now are always, when there are big events that happen, scammers will pay attention and try to figure out a scam that they can put together to take advantage of people. And this one here with the coronavirus is a prime example. Small business owners, they have access to the what is it called, the economic injury disaster loan and the PPP. And with those two right there, scammers can come up with a scam. They can, a grant scam. They'll call you and they'll say, hey, you've been approved for an SBA loan. But small business owners need to be aware that the SBA would never contact you. They would never contact you for a loan. There are loans out there also where they contact you and tell you that you've been approved for a loan during this crisis. But again, one of the things that we always tell consumers and we tell business owners alike, you need to double check. You need to do your homework. If they're asking for an advance fee, or if they're asking for a fee over 3%, you need to raise your eyebrow and that there might be something suspicious. Also, this is a grand time for scammers to have phishing expeditions with emails and texts where they'll send you an email, unsolicited email, saying that you've been approved for a loan, or there's something wrong with your account, or that you've been approved, but you need to click on this link. So one of the main messages that I want to send to everyone today is to double check. And I can't say it enough that if you get an unsolicited email, you get an unsolicited call, and they're using something that grabs your attention, whether it be excitement, you've been approved for a loan, or whether it be fear, hey, you owe us money and you need to pay now. You need to pay attention and say, and they're creating a sense of urgency, like you need to pay now. Again, you need to double check and call our office, call the Iowa Insurance Division, call the BBB, and call you. So, yes.
Right. Well, thank you, Al. Bobby, what are you seeing at the Better Business Bureau, either in your region or across the state or across the nation? I know the Better Business Bureau has a great reach, not only in the corridor, but also across the state of Iowa and across the country.
Yeah, thanks, John, and nice to be a part of this panel of the experts. And as Al said, you're going to see all kinds of these scams. And Sonia, they haven't quite hit that insurance yet part of it, but they're just taking old scams and they're kind of dusting them off and shining them up. And they know that deep pockets, the business, the money is coming in there. You're talking trillions of dollars that are moving to companies. And I guess just listening to our two panelists, a couple of things I wanted to throw out there would, number one, thank you to the banks, our community banks, our banks around the state, around the country that are processing these PPP loans, grants, if you will, because it's a lifeblood, lifeline for a lot of these companies, keeping them going, giving them hope, if you will. So I've been in communication with all of our banking friends at the Better Business Bureau and just basically say thank you. Hard work. I mean, we have local banks that have processed $50 million in loans right here in Cedar Rapids. That's just one bank that I've been in contact with one of our board members, and he said it's just crazy, but you have to do it, and it's all going to be backed by the federal government. So that hopefully we'll get through this, and those loans will be enough to save a lot of these small businesses. Text message that coming out, we saw through the office where it said you have come in contact with someone with COVID-19. You need to click on this link, and part of this tracing that we're going to be chasing, it's a false link. It's a scam link, and all they're doing is getting your information and probably infecting your computer, your telephone, once you click on that link. That's what I was talking about, a phishing attempt. So avoid right now going anywhere unsuspicious or very suspicious that you might be thinking about. Think twice, think 3 or 4 times. From a business perspective, talking to Barb Carson in our office today back in Des Moines, she's been working with a local company who was victimized by, we've all heard of, your consumer identity theft. This was business identity theft, where it originated out of the country, and they've attached themselves to the name of this company, and they're selling thermometers, and so you're ordering, everybody wants a thermometer, or it could be face masks, it could be gloves, PPEs, the gowns and that, but this particular one is thermometers. So they've been getting calls, people are looking them up on the internet and said, hey, where's my order? It's not come through yet. And so we've been helping them through that process, actually put an alert up on their business review that you can find at bbb.org when you search this particular company, and it'll have a big red alert up there that says, we are not the company that selling thermometers. What we sell are injection molding that they call micro molded mini parts for medical, but it's an example of how businesses have to be very careful of your online identity and how easy it is for these criminals at this time or at any time to grab that necessary information that all they do is change a word, change a letter on a web page, and all of a sudden they're up and running. So if you're surfing around, surf your cursor, your mouse over the address bar and make sure it's actually the place that you're wanting to go to. Look for in the address bar, it's HTTP, make sure there's an S. That means secure on there. If you're looking for your government stimulus check, you go to get my payment. Everybody's looking for that, and make sure that has a little padlock up in that address bar when you're at the irs.gov website, because it's so easy to say, get my refund, get my money. All these are fake websites rather than get my payment.
Good. Thank you, Bobby. Al, I want to go back to you. I think you've been at this maybe 14 years with the AG's office. And, you know, it's really sad that we have these scammers that are trying to victimize business owners and individuals, particularly in times of crisis. And I wondered if you got some perspective on, you know, during the Great Recession or during the Great Floods that we've had, is there something that's similar right now to what happened, you know, with a previous crisis that you can maybe touch on, and why do they do it now? Just because people are so wary, or not necessarily wary, but they're so in need of help? Maybe that's why they go after these folks. Al, can you maybe talk a little bit about that?
Sure, sure, John. Scammers understand human nature, right? They understand that you know, and I'd be the first one to say, I'd love a lucky day. I'd love help with my issue. I'm sure small business owners would say the same thing. I would welcome some help, and they take that and they put a scam around it, and they put trust in. They try to get you to trust and believe something that's entirely not true, and that's why scams work, because they create a situation that's very strong. They raise your emotions, excitement. Oh my gosh, I'm going to get help. Oh my gosh, I'm going to need the help I need to get my business through this tough time. And they use all the right lingo. They might have a logo, some professional logos on their website that make it look like it's the real deal. They use the right words, but there's something about it. You have to do it right now. You have to do it right now. And if you don't do it right now, you're going to miss out. And so I think the important message here is that, again, if you get a call, you get contacted, they create a sense of urgency. You have to do it right now. And many times, another red flag is that they will always ask you to pay by means where there's no safeguards for you. They'll ask you to pay through Western Union, or get gift cards, or send a check. We tell folks, you know, if you're going to pay, if you're going to buy something, always use a credit card, because with the credit card you have safeguards, you have protections to protect you. But yeah, scammers take advantage of times like this. They're always looking for an avenue to try to give people hope, give people excitement, or even put fear in people to get them to act. Why? Because they want either information or they want money.
Yeah, it's really unfortunate with as many small businesses that are being challenged right now to have these scams going. And so I appreciate the three of you helping us out today and talking it through. And Sonia, I want to go to you next. Can you, you know, what happens if an Iowan feels like they've been a suspect, or they suspect that they know somebody that's been a victim of a scam, whether it's a small business or it's an individual? You know, what can we do? What are some steps they should take?
Well, first of all, they shouldn't feel embarrassed, because it can happen to anybody. And second of all, they need to report it, whether if it's investment or insurance related, to our office, or other scams to the Attorney General's office or Better Business Bureau. It needs to be reported so that we can look into it.
Now, is there a clearinghouse? Bobby, you mentioned something on your website, but I'm wondering if there's a list of kind of scams that are happening right now. Is that something that's on the Better Business Bureau website? Is that something on the AG's office website or the Iowa Insurance Commission? Bobby, maybe I'll go to you first, and then we can go around the horn.
Yeah, you bet. The Better Business Bureau has a tab at bbb.org/Iowa. You can track scams all over the world, actually, John. You know, you can concentrate on the Midwest, but it's called Scam Tracker. And you just click on that and it'll take you to a map, and then you can zoom in, zoom out, and find the scams. And you'll be able to read about the monetary loss that happened with the particular scam, or it could be $10,000, or it could be zero, that people realized it was a scam. And now, as Sonia said, they're reporting it. So the Better Business Bureau, we don't have policing authority. We don't have power of subpoena. We don't have, you know, power to arrest anybody. All we can do is call them out. We call out the bad actors in our community. Got to commend the AG's office, Al, and with Tom Miller. He is a extreme consumer advocate. He will go after these companies. So our people talk to their office periodically, let them know what we hear. So as Sonia said, don't be embarrassed. These scams happen to people all the time, and be vigilant. If you're a neighbor, if your neighbor asks you for a ride to go to the bank, I got to get money out. We had one locally in Cedar Rapids. It was over $10,000. Elderly lady on a Social Security scam was going to send this PO box in New York City, $10,000 cash. It was stopped by her neighbor, who she asked for a ride, and she asked her why. And so that's just being a good neighbor, and that's a local story that's real. And we're proud of that lady for stepping up. She let us know, and it's just an old scam, Social Security scam. People peruse the obituaries, bad people. You see, and the scam is, you got to send us these back Social Security payments that your husband received before he passed away, and to receive future ones. So that's real money that would have been lost right there. But just report them, as we're all talking about, and then we will investigate them. Our people will investigate them. Al's been doing it for years, and the Insurance Commission, with all the financial companies that have come down the pipe over the last 20 years, it just seems to get worse and worse.
Al, what can you talk a little? Is there something on the Attorney General's website that lists some of these scams and frauds that would be a good resource for folks?
I believe from time to time we put out consumer advisories, and some of them they're targeted toward businesses. But just really quick, some of the scams that I'm seeing out there right now. One of them is the scammer will infiltrate the email system, and they'll learn who the CEO is. They'll learn who the director of a payroll is. We just had one just yesterday. We got an email from an Oskaloosa company where the CEO sent the CEO sent an email to the payroll director and said that he wanted his direct deposit changed. So she sent him the paperwork, sent it back. She sent it to the administrator to get everything changed, get the new bank account taken care of. And the payroll administrator sent an email to both of them just confirming everything. Well, right then, the CEO goes, hold on, I never sent you that email. It wasn't me. And it was just a scam. They took a little closer at the email, and the email was very similar, but there was one letter off, or, it was very, very similar. So that's how it got through. So be careful of things like that. Also, the fake invoice scam. You get a scam from the yellow invoice from the Yellow Pages, or a toner, or some cleaning supplies. There's a lot of companies out there that will just send invoices to your company. Have checks and balances in place to make sure that something is actually ordered and you're not just paying an invoice. Another one that's big right now is the Mid-America Energy scam, or just an electric company scam, where they call you and tell you that there's an issue with your electric bill and you're behind, or there's a missed payment. And if you don't pay now, they're going to shut you down. Again, for a business owner, that's very fearful. So I can't tell you how many business owners that I've talked to that have fell prey to it. And you know what? The thing is, I always ask them, how did they have you pay? And they say, they had me pay by gift card. And now the business owner is saying, Al, I should have known better. I've never paid with a gift card to the electric company. And the reason it says gift card is because it's a gift. It's not a form of payment. There's some other scams that I'd like to talk about, but I want to watch the time also.
Yeah, well, thank you. Hey, Sonia, let's go back to you. Where can Iowans go to check on investment offers? There's some scams, of course, when it comes to investments. As Bobby said, there's lots of money coming in from the federal government with stimulus checks, not only for individuals, but for businesses. Where can Iowans go to check on investment offers right now?
Individuals and business owners, small business and large alike, can call the Iowa Insurance Division at 877-955-1212. And we can check on offers on that if they call that number, we can check on the offer that they're being given, and also the person who is selling it to them. And we welcome those phone calls. We also have a website. It's iid.iowa.gov. And we have press releases on there that you can look at to update yourself on current scams. We've issued 2 in March regarding scams to be on the lookout for with regard to COVID-19. And you can also go on there and, as Al mentioned earlier, double check on your investment professional to make sure that they are licensed.
Sonia, another question since I've got you. You talked about reporting fraud. So if you feel like you have been scammed, when you call the insurance division or the AG's office, what kind of reporting will they need to give you? What kind of facts do you typically ask? And can you talk us just a little bit about that process?
Sure, that's a good question, John. When they call our office, we do ask that they fill something out in writing. That could be writing us a letter, that could be filling out a form on the internet, however they would like to do it. But we kind of need to know what happened, the who, what, when, where, and that's probably the same as what the Attorney General's office requires. But we just kind of need to know what happened so that we can look into it further from there. And we do work closely with the Attorney General's office. So if someone should file a complaint with our office and it's not investment or insurance related, we always get it over to the Attorney General's office so that they can have a look at it.
Al, anything to add there?
No, I agree. Yeah, just taking the time to let us know by filing a complaint. In our office, you can call our office and request a complaint form. You can go online and fill out a complaint form online, attach documents that support your side of the story. But, we have the Consumer Fraud Act, and the Consumer Fraud Act is very broad. It's 716.14. And what I love about it is that not only it protects consumers, it protects small businesses. And I've been involved in many investigations, and I've received many complaints from small businesses that we've been able to help. So I encourage any of your members, if they do have an issue, if they do have a problem, we want them to know that you have friends at the Iowa Attorney General's office, and we're here to help.
Thank you. Bobby, let's go to you again. Anything on investment fraud that we should be particularly looking out for? You guys have come up with a lot of good things, like don't pay with credit, don't pay with gift cards. If people are forcing you to make a quick decision, those are some red flags. But what else are you seeing on the investment fraud side of things?
Well, what you're seeing, and Sonia hit on it, is you're seeing the bad actors that'll come in. So you want to check them out before. It really blows my mind that people don't check them out, prior to giving people substantial amounts of money that they're investing. But too good to be true offers, get rich quick. We can do this 200% return here, and you're going to see a lot of that coming as we come out of this with vaccinations, with the remedies. And another thing that the AG's office helped the Better Business Bureau years ago was a lady here locally who had bought a whole bunch of supplements, things to keep her healthy, and it was over $40,000. And alerted the Attorney General's office, and Tom sprang into action and went after this company and got a majority of the money back for the person. Didn't get it all, but she had a trunk load of supplements. So be careful of that. As stay healthy. You're going to see these offers pop up here now. This will protect you against the virus moving forward. So you're going to see a lot of those things pop up there. The best advice we can give you is check them out. Just go. Ask your neighbors, ask your friends, ask your kids. We're all to that point. Our kids are adults now. Have you had this? What has been your working relationship with this investment advisor, if you will? But we're pretty easy to get to, bbb.org. You don't have to be a member, an accredited business with the BBB. We have reports on as many companies as we can. The best places to look, I like to read reviews. John, okay, was this company very helpful in the process? Or they'll tell you, people get mad, they'll put a review up there and say, this was, fly-by-night company, they took my money, and all these offers. And so read through the reviews. We have them on the Better Business Bureau site. You look up that company. If they're not there, an easy Google search. Google rules the world now. We're seeing our Google numbers go through the roof over the last month. People checking out the BBB.org. So best thing you can do, you're in the financial world, we're all counting our money right now, and wondering what's next, is before you give anybody that hard-earned money, check them out, read the reviews, talk to your friends. Somebody will give you a good advice on who to go to. But I don't think I'd be responding to anything that came through an email or a glossy brochure right about now.
Sonia, is there any other resources for folks to check on investment offers that from your perspective?
Calling our office and checking on an investment offer is the best way to go, because like I said, we license the offers and the people that are selling it. There's also a website. We do at Iowa Fraud Fighter events in conjunction with the Iowa Attorney General's office. And we have a website, iowafraudfighters.gov. And on that website, there is a great form. It's called Check Your Investment, I believe is what it's called. It goes back to what we've all been kind of talking about, that double check before you invest. But there's a great form on there that you can actually give to your investment professional and have them fill out, and then call us so that we can double check that information to make sure that everything that they're telling you is correct with regards to their licensing and the investment that they're offering.
Hey, Al, I want to go to you again. You said you had a few examples of frauds or scams for small businesses, and I think it might be instructive for you to talk about a couple more of those, or one or two more of those if you could. So what else are you seeing out there?
One of the, we just had a pretty big lawsuit and investigation. It started about in 2010 against a company out of the Quad Cities. And what they were doing is that they were calling businesses all over the United States, small businesses. Their target was small businesses. And they would tell them that they want to see if they want to put an advertisement in a football poster, for the football team, the local high school football team, or for flyers. And we found out that they were using fear tactics. They were calling businesses out of the blue and telling them that they already had a relationship with them and they needed to pay now, or else they were going to turn them into collections. And we were able to stop them. We got a temporary injunction. The judge put a $2.5 million judgment on them. But small business owners need to be careful when they get a call. I always say, if you're going to deal with a business, try to buy local. Try to use someone local, because I think it's a lot easier if there's an issue or there's a problem where you can call someone that you see, or you go down the street, or you can knock on their door. With this scam here, when they called, they spoofed the number to make it look like it was local, but it was not local. And I hate to say, but we're in a day and age where you can't always trust your caller ID. And again, you need to double check and do some checking before saying yes, or before saying, yeah, I agree with this.
Go ahead.
Another scam that we're seeing is just a customer, someone calls you out of the blue from out of the area, and they want to buy 100 widgets right now. It's kind of out of the blue. They want to buy 100 widgets. They have a credit card. They give you the credit card. It goes through. You send the widgets, and then guess what? It was a stolen credit card, and the widgets are gone. And now you're out. Not only the money from the credit card, but the merchandise. So be very careful if someone's calling from out of the blue and they say, hey, we're going to have a shipper come. They're going to pick it up. Things like that. If we all want to make a sale, and it's exciting to make a sale, but at the same time, you need to be careful when you get a call, unsolicited, high dollar, credit card, and it's not local.
So I want to go to Bobby or Sonia on this next question. There's a lot of elderly parents or relatives that might be a little bit more susceptible to some of these scams and frauds. If you have an elderly parent or a relative that you look out after, what kind of advice would you give to those caretakers to help those elderly people avoid some of these scams? You talked about helping them understand not to pay with gift cards and some of those things. Are there other things that we got to do from a best practices to help elderly folks from getting trapped in one of these scams?
Go ahead, Sonia.
I would suggest you keep an eye on their bank accounts. Preach to them not to answer the door to strangers. Don't answer their phones if they don't know the number. And if someone does come calling about an investment or a scam, that they contact you immediately. Scammers know that people are isolated, especially now. We're all very isolated. And scammers will take advantage of that. And it's our elderly population. It's all of us, actually. Al's actually helping me with my adult son who just had his eBay account hacked. So it's everyone. But it's just keeping an eye on them and educating them to the best of our abilities. That for all of these things that we need to watch out for. And unfortunately, there's a lot of things we need to watch out for.
Bobby, anything to add there?
Yeah, I would just add that right now it seems like our elderly population are the most vulnerable, but it's not necessarily all the time, because there was a study that came out that young people are being scammed at just the same rate. Young kids coming out of college, the job scams. You're going to get this job scam thing. Everybody's looking for a job online, and okay, here's a job that they'll use legitimate looking companies. Say, let's use one out of the blue, Workivia. We're hiring people. They use that. Now they send you a check to buy a computer. Oh, we sent you too much. You got to send the money back. So it affects everybody, but the elderly, for whatever reason, because they have been isolated, maybe more so than we are currently right now. But my father, when he was alive, he'd sit there alone. I'd check on him every day. But one day he asked me, he said, "Hey, how's Adam doing, my grandson?" I said, "He's fine." "Why?" "Well, I got a call. He's in jail in Mexico." It's like, "No, Daddy's not in jail." What is that all about? He says, "Well, they wanted me to send money to help him out there." So that's a scam that won't go away. It's a lot like Al was talking about, the Mid-America scam or Alliant Energy scam, where they get you and you haven't talked to anybody in a while, and then it seemed to be, preying on that fear. And as we like to not jokingly say, but it's okay to pay in gift cards to your graduating seniors in high school, but you don't pay anything else with gift cards. And that's the number one red flag right there. And we've worked with our retail consumers, the Hy-Vees, the Casey's that are members of the Better Business Bureau, to have their customer service people ask questions. Why are you getting this gift card? And they'll tell you right away. We had an instance in small town Iowa, the grandparent scam, where 3 times the woman went in and withdrew cash. Finally, the 3rd time, the bank president came out and said, "Is everything okay?" And she broke down and said, "My grandson, they're going to cut his head off. He's in Mexico." And he's like, "Oh, no, it's not real." So you try to educate people as much as possible, and more so than ever. And this time, we got to watch out for each other, watch out for your neighbors. As I mentioned that story earlier, the Social Security scam, it was an alert neighbor who was requested a ride from her neighbor lady and asked her why. And she broke down and said, "I got to pay this money or I won't get future Social Security payments." So just bad stories like that. We hate to be the bearers of bad news, but our job is to try to educate the consumers and businesses in the area that these things are out there and they're real. And as Sonia said earlier, don't be embarrassed, because they happen to everybody, but we don't know until we know. Al doesn't know until he knows. Sonia as well. Just report these things to whoever you're comfortable reporting them to.
Well, I think that's go ahead, Sonia.
I'll add too, we are going to be doing some fraud fighter events over in the corridor type area. I believe we're going to be in Tama and Clinton I believe it's June and July. Is that right, Al? Does that sound right?
Yep, that sounds right.
Yeah. So iowafraudfighters.gov, check the website for dates and locations, and we'd love to have Iowa seniors show up and learn more about these scams.
Great. Al, I think I'm going to give you the final word. Anything you want to share with the audience before we hang it up?
Yeah, if I can just take a few minutes to give you some tips. Number one, if report any suspicious activity. They're going to target you, but you need to report it. Number 2, check your bank accounts, check your credit card statements, always, and your invoices. Keep close attention to those. If there's something out of whack, report it. Buy local, if you can. Train your employees to be on the lookout for suspicious activity. Don't trust always trust your caller ID. Number 6, if you can pay something, if you have to pay something, pay with a credit card if possible. Always use a credit card because there's safeguards for you. Safeguard your computer systems. Make sure you have a sturdy firewall. Make sure you have a protocol for employees to change their passwords from time to time. And I always tell folks, if it's only good for today, walk away. If someone's telling you, this deal is only good today, you need to walk away. Also, be very suspicious of unsolicited calls, unsolicited texts, emails that are creating a sense of urgency, and they want you to act now. And number 10 is what Sonia and I preach, every time we go out to these fraud fighters, is to double check. And if you have an issue, you have a problem, feel free to give us a call anytime.
Great, Al. Bobby, any last comments you want to share with the audience?
You bet. Just give them the information. The BBB. We have people in the office. We're checking our voicemails all the time. We're a nonprofit, so we only have about 12 of us. We've got a couple of sales guys that are just grinding down there and doing a great job. But we're open for business. We might be working from home. We have 3 in the office there in Des Moines during business hours. But find us at 1-800-222-1600 or bbb.org/Iowa. If you got internet access, you can report a scam, report a complaint. It's a bit of a formal process, but if you're that upset, go ahead and file that complaint. One of our people will follow up quickly and get your information. It doesn't happen overnight when you file a complaint. It takes a couple of weeks, maybe 4 weeks. We give people 2 weeks in between business, 2 weeks in between to respond. Once they don't respond, then we just file it as unresponsive, and it really affects their letter grade with the Better Business Bureau. And what these folks have all been saying, buy local, don't buy anything on impulse right now, hang in there, and just know the BBB and the Insurance Commission and AG's office are there to help people out, help businesses out through these rough times.
Well, I think that's a great way to finish it up, and I want to thank our speakers today for being with us and sharing their expertise and helping people understand that the Better Business Bureau and the Attorney General's office and the Iowa Insurance Commission's there to help Iowans, small business owners. And wanted to give you a couple final comments before we finish up here. Our normally scheduled Innovation Watch event remains set for May 12th. This event explores some of the latest advances in technology in the corridor, and we are planning for it to be a virtual event, and it has a sub-theme of how innovation in Iowa is helping combat the COVID-19 crisis. So I think that'll be of interest to a lot of folks. Our applications for our fastest growing companies event has been moved to August, and the application deadline has been extended to May 15th. So those fastest growing companies out there want to keep those deadlines in mind. And then we're really excited about our big annual mid-year economic review event. It's scheduled for June 24th. That has not changed, but it will now be a virtual event. And we're very excited because we have just confirmed that our keynote speaker is Charlie Evans, the president of the Federal Reserve Bank of Chicago. He's always a great speaker, very well informed. And then that event will also include a panel discussion moderated by Jack Evans from the Hall Perrine Foundation. That's always a very informative event, so you might want to put that on your calendar. And just want to pitch the next couple webinars coming up on Thursday of this week. We have one on how nonprofits are pivoting during the coronavirus crisis. Many of these local nonprofit leaders will discuss how their organizations are operating differently in light of the COVID-19 pandemic. And so I think there's going to be a lot of good best practices with that. And then coming up next week on April 22nd, we will have a webinar on creative financing for distressed companies. I know there are a lot of companies out there that are feeling pinched right now. And how can they navigate this challenging time with some unconventional financing strategies? So I think there's going to be a lot of interest in that event. You can go to our website at corridorbusiness.com to register for all of our events and look at the upcoming webinars as well. And then finally, I have been asked by folks how they can help the Corridor Business Journal during this challenging time. And I would ask that All of you who participated today will be getting an email from me, and I would encourage you to subscribe to the Corridor Business Journal, particularly a digital subscription to Corridor Business Journal. That's really the best way to help us continue to provide great content and have great reporters writing daily and weekly on small business in throughout the corridor. And finally, if any businesses out there are interested in sponsoring any of these webinars, please reach out to me. I'd be happy to talk to you about what we're doing with these webinars and helping small businesses throughout the corridor. I want to thank Bobby Hansen again from the Better Business Bureau, Sonia Selmeyer, the Consumer Advocate with the Iowa Insurance Division, and Al Perales, the Consumer Protection Investigator with the Iowa Attorney General's Office. Thank you so much for helping us today. I'd like you to keep reading the Corridor Business Journal and stay safe. And we are now adjourned. Thank you so much.